The rain had just stopped when Daniel walked into the quiet old park. He was 19, tired, and frustrated with his life. His mind was full of questions about money, success, and why nothing he tried ever seemed to work. He sat on a wooden bench, staring at the ground, wondering why building wealth felt impossible for someone like him. A few minutes later, an old man with silver hair and gentle eyes sat on the same bench. He held a small walking stick, carved with patterns that looked older than the town itself. The old man glanced at Daniel and smiled. "You look like someone carrying a storm inside," the old man said softly. Daniel let out a weak laugh. "Maybe I am. I'm trying to figure out my future, how to earn money, how to get out of this mess, but everything feels too big. I feel like I'm starting with nothing." The old man nodded slowly, as if he'd heard this story 1,000 times. "Let me tell you something, son. Every wealthy person you admire once felt exactly like you do now. Lost, confused, overwhelmed." Daniel looked up, curious. The old man continued, "Do you know the rule that started everything for me? A rule so small it sounds almost silly?" Daniel shook his head. The old man leaned forward, voice calm and warm. "It all began with $1. Daniel frowned. $1? What can a single dollar possibly change? The old man chuckled. "That's exactly what I thought when I was your age. I believed wealth came from big wins, big chances, big leaps. But life taught me something different. Wealth usually begins with something so small, most people ignore it." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn, folded note, an old $1 bill. It looked like it had lived a long life. "When I was around your age, I was broke. Not just money broke, discipline broke, mindset broke, direction broke. Everything felt impossible. One evening, my grandfather handed me $1 and said, 'If you can't respect $1, you'll never respect 1,000. Daniel listened closely. I didn't understand it at first. I thought he was joking. I mean, how could this little piece of paper mean anything? But he told me to take that single dollar and treat it like a seed. Not money, a seed. A seed doesn't look like much either, but it carries a forest inside." The old man paused and looked at Daniel with steady eyes. "That day, my grandfather taught me the $1 rule. The habit of starting small, practicing discipline, and proving to yourself that you can handle money before money ever grows." Daniel leaned in, suddenly more interested. "What did you do with it?" he asked. The old man smiled gently. "Ah, that's where the real lesson begins." "I kept that dollar," he said, tapping the worn note between his fingers. "Not because it was valuable, but because I needed to learn how to respect something small. My grandfather told me, if you ignore the small things, the big things will ignore you. I didn't fully get it then, but I listened." He leaned back, eyes drifting toward the trees. "That first week, I didn't spend the dollar. I didn't fold it in my pocket and forget about it. I looked at it every morning, and each time I did, I reminded myself of one thing. If I can't manage one, I can't manage more." Daniel nodded slowly. The idea felt simple, yet heavier than he expected. "So what happened next?" Daniel asked. "Well," said the old man, "once that lesson settled into my mind, my grandfather gave me the second part of the rule. He said, add another $1 tomorrow. Not $10, not a whole paycheck, just one more. And you did it? Daniel asked. Every day, said the old man. Some days I felt silly. Some days I felt proud. But each dollar taught me a truth most people never learn. Wealth starts with consistency, not luck. Every time I saved a dollar, I wasn't just collecting money. I was training myself. I was practicing respect, patience, and discipline. He looked Daniel straight in the eyes. You don't build wealth by waiting for the big moment. You build wealth by showing up for the small ones. Daniel felt something sink into his chest. For the first time in a long time, money didn't feel like a mountain. It felt like something he could start with right now. The old man smiled gently, as if reading his thoughts. But the story didn't stop at saving. That little habit opened the door to something even bigger. The old man rested his hands on his stick. After a few months, I had a small stack of dollar bills. Nothing impressive to the world, but it changed how I saw myself. I wasn't the careless kid I used to be. I was becoming someone who could trust himself. Daniel tilted his head, curious. Did you feel different? Very, said the old man. Every dollar I saved was like a promise I kept to myself. And when you keep enough small promises, you start believing you can keep the bigger ones too. He paused for a moment as a breeze moved through the trees. One day, my grandfather looked at my little savings and said, "Good. Now it's time to make your money work." That shocked me. I thought saving was the whole game. But he explained something important. Saving teaches discipline. Investing teaches growth. Daniel shifted on the bench. Investing? With just a handful of dollars?
The old man laughed softly. That's what I asked him. But he didn't mean investing in stocks or businesses at the start. He meant investing in myself. Buying a used book for $1. Paying a neighbor a few coins to teach me something they were good at. Spending a little money to learn a skill that might help me earn. He pointed at Daniel's chest. Wealth begins in here, long before it shows up in your bank. Daniel took a slow breath. The idea felt warm, almost comforting. So I started small, the old man continued. I bought old books at the market. Books about money, habits, discipline, stories of people who built something from nothing. I bought a notebook and tracked every cent I used. I practiced fixing things around the neighborhood for tiny amounts of money. Every skill I learned, every small job I did, it was all part of the $1 rule growing roots. He smiled, remembering. That first dollar taught me to respect what I had. The next ones taught me consistency. The cheap books taught me how to think. And after a while, something inside me changed. I wasn't just saving money anymore. I was becoming a person who could create it. The old man's voice softened. There came a moment, maybe a year after I started, when everything shifted. I was still young, still unsure of the world, but I had one thing I'd never had before: control. Not control over life or luck, but control over myself. Daniel leaned forward. What happened? I remember this day clearly. A neighbor asked if I could help clean his old shed. It was dusty, broken, full of junk. Most boys my age would have said no, but I had learned something from that dollar. Small things matter. Small jobs matter. Small money matters. He smiled. So I said yes. He paid me a few dollars, not much, but I didn't waste it. I added it to my growing pile and kept going. Daniel nodded. I guess most people would have ignored a small job like that. Exactly, the old man replied. And that's the problem. People wait for big chances and miss the tiny ones that build who they become. One small task led to another. Soon I was helping more neighbors, fixing things, cleaning things, learning skills they were willing to teach me. My small dollars grew into bigger dollars because I grew. He tapped his chest with a wrinkled finger. That's the hidden truth about money, Daniel. Money grows when you grow. Wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with responsibility, curiosity, patience, and discipline, qualities most people skip because they're too busy chasing shortcuts. Daniel looked down at his hands, thinking about his own habits. The old man could sense the reflection. But the real turning point, the old man said, wasn't the money I earned. It was the moment I stopped seeing myself as someone who was struggling and started seeing myself as someone who could build. He took a slow breath. That shift in identity, going from I'm broke to I'm building, was the moment my life changed. The old man's eyes sparkled. You see, Daniel, it's not about having $1 million overnight. It's about what you do with each dollar each day. The $1 rule is really about building habits, small, steady actions that shape who you become. He paused, then said, imagine planting a tiny seed. You don't see a tree the next day, but if you water it every day, care for it, give it sunlight, it grows. It takes time, patience, consistency. Daniel nodded slowly. So, the dollar is like a seed? Exactly, the old man smiled. The dollar isn't the treasure. The treasure is learning how to respect what you have, how to save, how to invest in yourself, how to keep promises, and how to grow bit by bit. That's the real wealth. He leaned in and said quietly, when you practice these small habits, you change your mindset. You start thinking like someone who can create wealth, not someone waiting for luck. Daniel's eyes brightened, hope stirring inside him for the first time. Remember, big wealth starts with small discipline. The first dollar you respect will lead to thousands, then millions. But it all begins with the choice to start small and keep going. The old man smiled warmly, resting his hand gently on Daniel's shoulder. If there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. Wealth isn't magic. It's not a sudden windfall or a lucky break. It's a journey made of small steps, $1 at a time. He looked deeply into Daniel's eyes. Start where you are. Respect your first dollar. Save it. Learn from it. Invest in yourself. Build habits that stick. And most importantly, believe that you are capable of growing beyond what you think is possible. Daniel sat up straighter, feeling something shift inside him. The old man stood, ready to leave, and added, if there's one thing I remember, then don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to our channel. He gave one last smile. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, and often with just $1.